that game was a pure definition of an hallmark of the Chiefs as a team, and that's probably what we see in the playoffs most times when they're able to grind out results even when nobody is expecting.
We've seen scenarios of like quarterbacks that have left that team and then gone to other teams and they are playing so well.
If we judge rookie quarterbacks based on their first season alone, we might end up sacrificing so many rookie quarterbacks because Baker Mayfield is an obvious example. Justin Fields looks like he's having a renaissance in a better situation with the Steelers. Like Tom Brady did not become a starter until midway through the second season.
When you acquire Derrick Henry, you need to have an identity for what you do with Derrick Henry. And you have Lamar Jackson who can also run the ball. So it looks like they are struggling to decide what they want to do with their offense. Chicago, because it feels like he's better than the team. The hype around him, someone like Nick Wright was telling us that Caleb Williams will take the team to the Super Bowl. So if people have hyped him like that before the season started, you cannot now come back to this season and come and telling us that he's still a rookie.
To you, is Shedeur the guy? Is Shedeur the guy that you look forward to? That okay, when it gets to the NFL, there's something there.
I mean, he has a lot. I think he has something to offer. I don't just want to like put it. It depends on the situations they find themselves in.
Hello guys, welcome to another episode of the NFL Table. Akin, I have to put you on the spot immediately. Do you feel like you guys defeated the Bengals fair and square, or that final call was uncalled for?
Honestly, I mean, I have to be honest. I don't think they defeated them. we know for a fact like officiating in NFL can be very funny at times, if not most times. And it even goes back to like the Super Bowl where there were some calls that were made that didn't even make any sense. But I don't know, as a fan, I'm just like, what's it called? I'm going to be biased and sentimental here that, you know what, does it really matter?
As long as you have won, Abi.
It's going to continue. It's not going to just... It didn't start with the Chiefs, and it's not going to end with the Chiefs. So, I mean, bad officiating is just... It's just unfortunate. That's all I can say.
No, but I don't agree. I don't agree that it's bad officiating. Because it was a pass interference. So, if it's a pass interference, and you commit a pass interference, we should expect the ref to call it. Yes, Patrick Mahomes knows how to throw the ball, and his receivers knows how to go up for the ball in such a way that if you make contact with them, it will be an obvious pass interference. But that is also getting those penalties is a skill. It's something that you have to be able to work on, because it's not every time you throw the ball for the receiver to catch the ball. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you throw the ball so that you get the passing interference. And if you analyze it any way you want to analyze it, that particular play was a pass interference. So, yes, they played better than the Chiefs, had more yards. You know, they probably should have won if they had converted in the red zone. But if you don't convert in the red zone, you give the Chiefs opportunity to convert and come back into the game. I don't think we can blame the refs for calling an obvious call. So I think that is just a sign of a team that knows how to win at any point in time. When they are in tough games, in big games, and they need to get things done, they know how to get things done. I think that game was a pure definition of an hallmark of the Chiefs as a team. And that's probably what we see in the playoffs most times when they're able to grind out results, even when nobody is expecting.
I know we're talking about like the hallmark of the Chiefs now because of they eventually won the game. But does that game, like the game we saw, does that buttress the points that the Bengals are a team that can actually beat the Chiefs when healthy?
Yes, it does, because they are the team that play the most free against the Chiefs. They don't play fearful. They don't play like they are cagey. They don't play cagey football against the Chiefs. They play like we feel like we are good enough. We feel like we can beat you guys. So because they play like that, because the number one task for you is that Malik Neighbors. Wow. The number one task for you before you even decide whether you have lost the game or not is, can I stand? Do I feel like I belong on the pitch against these guys? So if you cannot even convince yourself that you belong on the pitch with the Chiefs, you find it difficult to win them. So I feel like the Bengals are one team that they always play like they belong on the pitch with the Chiefs.
I know that the Bengals are 0-2 at this point, and they're at the bottom of the AFC North division. But I just feel like at some point they'll find their foot, and for the sake of the NFL, I would love to see the matchup between both teams again in the playoffs. Actually, I don't know what's happening in North Carolina now, or whether it's South Carolina, but the Carolina Panthers decided, we don't need to wait for rookies too much. 1 year, 2 games in, we're making a change. We have to get rid of him and bring in someone. You have to put him on the bench and bring in a veteran. Because on Tuesday, last week, it was announced that Andy Dalton is the new starter for the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young will be benched. And I don't know how you defend this decision, because to me, the decision doesn't actually make sense. When I say it doesn't make sense, it's the sense that I just mentioned now that this is his second year and he has only played 2 games in his second year in a bad team. Like, let's not forget that this is a bad team, a team that doesn't do much. Like, they offer so little. The offensive line is bad, the defensive line is bad. You're not surrounded by skill players at the wide receiver positions. You don't have any outstanding running back. Like, does this decision to get rid of Bryce Young and bring in Andy Dalton as a starter, does that move the needle for the Panthers?
No, it doesn't. I mean, your question is already been answered, because you just pointed out some of the lacks they possess currently. Because if you look at that team, the way the team is built, they don't have the help that he needs to deliver in that system. I mean, we've seen scenarios of like quarterbacks that have left that team and then gone to other teams and they are playing so well. I mean, the likes of Baker Mayfield, for crying out loud.
Sam Darnold.
So, yeah. And these guys are still not getting it. It's like someone needs to just drill some senses into them before they can see or they understand what is actually their problem. So it goes to show that the executives or the people in control, or the people in power over there at that organizations don't know what they are doing. And it's so sad. They've changed coaches here and there. They've made decisions about quarterbacks in the past, thinking they are the problem. But they fail to realize that if you don't give them the offensive power that guy needs, he's never going to perform. There is no top A list quarterback in the NFL right now that if you put in that Carolina Panthers that would actually move the needle or make a difference. I don't think anyone can actually mention one right now if they don't commit to changing things around the quarterback to effect the changes that they want. So I mean, I hope they get it, but I hope they get it as quick as possible.
Because Aki mentioned Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, other former Carolina Panthers quarterback that have gone places to do things. Because since when, if we judge rookie quarterbacks based on their first season alone, we might end up sacrificing so many rookie quarterbacks. Because Baker Mayfield is an obvious example. Justin Fields looks like he's having a renaissance in a better situation with the Steelers. Like Tom Brady did not become a starter until midway through the second season after Drew Person gets injured and all those things. Drew Parcells got injured. So at some point, we need to start understanding that, okay, if we have a rookie quarterback and coming from college, we've had 3 different head coaches, about 2 to 3 different coordinators, like no fixed style of play. At what point do we look at ourselves and say, okay, we need to develop him? Or is the fact that when you look at people like CJ Stroud, who is actually playing out of his mind for Houston Texans, does that put extra pressure on Bryce Young?
No. So we need to understand CJ Stroud is an exception, not the normality. There are very few quarterbacks that come to the league and perform at the level CJ Stroud performed last season. That's number 1. Number 2, I think we all can agree that the Panthers are currently a dysfunctional organization. Mm-hmm. Everyone agrees to that. So if we have those 2 conclusions, I think the premise now is that Bryce Young just needs a fresh start in a different organization. I think it's probably good or better for him to get benched, because if he stays behind the offensive line and then they go and give him concussion at some point, because of it was bound to happen with the way he was getting sacked, he will probably not be attractive to other teams. But is in a position whereby other teams can take a look at what is going on in Carolina and say, we think that if Bryce Young comes to our team, because Bryce Young, yes, he's small, but he's not smaller than Brock Purdy. Yes, Brock Purdy is a bit built, but that's something that can be worked on. So other teams can take a look at Bryce Young. This guy is the first number 1 overall pick. That means he's smart. If we put him in our system, proper blocking, offensive line, we probably can get something better out of him and we give him weapons. Because Bryce Young is literally playing with, we don't know any receiver. I don't think anyone of us knows any receiver in the Panthers. Yes, they got Miles Sanders, but you can't compare. So please don't mention Adam Thielen when we talk about receivers. Adam Thielen is 300 years. He's 300 years old. Please. So let's be serious. So Bryce Young, we all agree that Carolina, they don't know what they're doing, and the owner probably needs to suffer continuously for another 10 years before he probably will learn his lesson and allow whoever he appoints as general manager to do their jobs appropriately.
Before I even move away from the Panthers, because I find it extremely funny to be like, Andy Dalton is I know there's this usual belief or this usual saying that, if you have a quarterback and the coach, you will be fine, or you will do well, or you get right at some point. I feel like the Panthers believe Dave Canales is the coach. They have the coach already. They just need to find the quarterback, and maybe Andy Dalton can inspire some sort of leadership or offense and take them to the next level. But to be honest, the whole situation looks very dysfunctional. And speaking of dysfunction, Bullish, it has been a crazy week, because now we're seeing fans call for head coaches. And we've only had 2 weeks. This is just the 3rd week of the NFL. And over there in Baltimore, the Ravens are like, John Harbaugh is holding us back. We need to get rid of him. Blah, blah, blah. Let's sack him. Let's bring in another coach. He has spent his time already. On the other end, with your darling Eagles, there are fans that say Nick Sirianni has lost that ability to manage games. His decision-making has put us in a bad situation. I know there's the reason why we call it Overreaction Mondays is because everything in the NFL is overblown, overreacted to, over-discussed. But is there like an element of truth? Like when you look at this, you say, okay, maybe do we need to start considering coaches after 2 weeks?
I think no, 2 weeks is too soon. But the only reason why some teams can consider 2 weeks, like the teams like the Eagles, is that they feel like they've done their job in terms of assembling the squad. And they feel like the squad is good enough, looking around the NFL, to be Final Four come the end of the season. So if you have done your job as a management team to assemble a squad that you think is capable of being in the championship game, you don't want a situation whereby mismanagement, coach misunderstanding, or not run the right kind of scheme is now what is going to pull your team back, because you feel like you have assembled the right squad. So I think that's where a team like the Eagles can feel like, okay, we need to make a change so that we can start seeing the changes now and turn our season around. But a team like the Ravens, their number 1 problem is that the people you were supposed to pay in your defense, you didn't pay them. You allowed some of your best players leave, and then on offense, you look like you don't understand what you are trying to do. It feels like through the training camp they didn't really organize themselves and say, this is the plan going into the season. When you acquire Derrick Henry, you need to have an identity for what you do with Derrick Henry. And you have Lamar Jackson, who can also run the ball. So it looks like they are struggling to decide what they want to do with their offense. So I feel like 2 weeks is too early to start calling for coaches to be sacked, because a team can literally go for 10 out of 11 in the next 11 games, and then everybody starts singing Kumbaya. But I feel like the only reason why some of this conversation is happening is because some of the teams feel like we have to talk to get to the promised land. We don't want the coach to be the reason why we don't get there.
I think Bolish is mentioning Derrick Henry, which I think is a big deal, because when Derrick Henry joined the Ravens, a lot of teams felt this is going to be a run-centric offense. They will have the ability to run the ball through you. In short, when they run the ball through you and you reject, they will run it some more. They're going to make sure that they run it down your throat in different ways. And so far, that offense has not ignited. It hasn't kicked off. They look stale. They don't know whether they should run the ball, they should pass the ball. Derrick Henry has struggled in terms of yard per carries, and what have you? Is it? Are we looking at it from the standpoint now that okay, maybe they picked up an older version of Derrick Henry, or are we putting the blame on the coaching crew to be like, you need to put these guys in a situation whereby they're successful?
I think I'd rather go for the later one, the later option, because I don't think Derrick Henry has blown a hold or anything. I feel like if there's anything, the guy puts himself in the best possible shape entering during off season, entering into a regular season. I just feel like you just need to just put him in a better situation. I mean, there has been instances in the past 2 games that they've played whereby he could have actually offered a whole lot, depending on whatever play they were trying to run, but he was never involved. So it's something the coaches need to sit down and just like draft something around him. I was thinking this season that because of this acquiring Derrick Henry was going to make the Ravens the Ravens maybe unpredictable and stuff like that. So that, I mean, it's going to give like defenses something to worry about. But they've not been able to like leverage on those signings or on the signing of Derrick Henry. And like I said, the coaches have to like just drop a new scheme that's going to help and just be able to like accommodate him in whatever the situations they're trying to like achieve. But it's just up to the coaches. And it's up to the coaches. I don't believe they're a terrible team. They have the tools. They just need to just sit down and just think of something that works.
Bolish mentioned last week that he doesn't see the Jets winning more than 8 games last season. So I'm trying to put him on the spot here now to ask if he's willing to change his mind because they beat the Titans and they beat the Patriots on Thursday. But it's not just the fact that they beat, those are not 2 contenders, quote and unquote. But it's the manner in which they did it. If you saw the game last week, by the time they won the game against the Titans, we saw what's his name? The bad man, Aaron Rodgers, make 2 throws, one to Garrett Wilson and the other one to Mike Williams towards the end of the game that led them, like that particular drive that led to the winning touchdown. Last season, even if it wasn't last season, if they didn't have Aaron Rodgers, if they had maybe Zach Wilson still at the helm at quarterback and all those things, like they don't make those throws. Those throws are the kind of throws like players like Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and that caliber of player, those are the kind of throws that you expect from players like that. Like, but after watching those 2 games, now it's something that you look at and go, okay, just maybe they have a chance.
See, they played Tennessee Titans and New England. Those 2 teams will be the first and second in pursuing having the number 1 overall pick when the season ends. Their next game, they played Denver. Denver we thought was not going to be good, but Bo Nix is currently wiping the Buccaneers side as we speak. They play Minnesota. Minnesota is currently wiping the Texans as we speak. And then they play Buffalo Bills, who is a divisional game. You know what that will involve. They play Pittsburgh with their defense, and Rodgers cannot move. So they have a chance of losing 3 out of the next 4 games. Then they play New England again. Obviously, they are babies. Then they play Houston and Arizona, who I feel will win them. Then they have just 4 wins now. Now they play Colts, they could win the Colts. Then they play Seattle, Miami, and Jacksonville. Those 3, I think Miami, if Tua is back, Miami will probably win them. And then Rams, Bills, and Miami. See, we'll see what happens at the end of the season. Rodgers looks like himself, but you have not played. You can't use playing against the New England Patriots, who at the beginning of the season, their win total expectation was 4.5 as a benchmark for how good your team is. The fact that a good team is supposed to look good against mediocre opposition, and they look good against mediocre opposition, which is what they should have done.
Okay, I think Akin is unavailable.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Don't worry, there's nobody in the... Are you in Shannon Sharp's house again?
I'm in my girlfriend's house.
Oh, because the workstation looks different. Sorry. In regards to madam. As we speak now, the NFL is currently on. Polish, I'm still going to put you on the spot because we're currently seeing the games between the New Orleans Saints and the Philadelphia Eagles. And you're watching this game, and the Eagles' offense is offering nothing. Like, AJ Brown is injured, yes. He's an all-world receiver, probably top 3, top 5 receiver, whichever way you want to rank it. And we just said not too long ago, like a few minutes back, that Nick Sirianni is on the hot seat. what happens after this game, especially when you look at how stagnant the offense has been? Is it a case of, okay, maybe they need to sack the offensive coordinator and find different schemes? Or is AJ Brown's injuries very impactful?
So I don't think the injury should stop you from not being able to complete first downs and pick up, yardage. Kelly Moore needs to be on the hot seat. Kelly Moore, in his last season in Dallas, that Prescott had his highest number of interception in the league. I think he had about 16. He led the league in interception. And then when he left and Mike McCarthy was calling the plays, that Prescott literally was second in MVP voting. Kelly Moore went to the Chargers and they could not offer anything in attack and looked like Justin Herbert was a nobody. Now he's in the Eagles, and this season Jalen Hurts already has about 5 or 6 interceptions. Mm-hmm. So the common denominator in this equation is Kelly Moore. They probably have to have a conversation with Kelly Moore and tell him, oh, there's something, missing in this your offensive setup and scheme, or pack your load and go or something. You cannot fault Nick Sirianni because you already told Nick Sirianni is not calling the plays, and he has left the offensive play duty to Kelly Moore, and then the offense is not doing what it's supposed to do, and then you want to now blame Nick Sirianni. I think the only reason why I'll probably be okay, you can maybe point some fingers at Nick Sirianni, is that maybe if you now say, okay, because of you now want an offensive coach that will be calling the plays. For example, Kyle Shanahan, Sean, what's the name of this Rams coach? Matt LaFleur, Kevin O'Connell, Sean McVay. If you say Andy Reid, if you say, okay, we want to get an offensive coordinator that will also be in charge of the offense, that will be the head coach. And you say, okay, that's why we're going to bring in someone else so that we won't be having this conversation around, oh, you lost, what's the name of this, Shane Steichen, and that's why you are not able to get proper production from your offense. But that's the only reason why I was okay. I'm probably in support of bringing the new coach, because if you bring a new coach who's an offensive mind, who will come with his own scheme, and then maybe someone like Ben Johnson.
Yes.
If you are able to get someone like Ben Johnson, maybe by the end of this season, because I don't think he'll leave Detroit in the middle of the season. So except you are going for someone like that, fine. But if you are not going to get something tangible like that, I think the conversation should be around Kellen Moore's inability to get quality out of his quarterbacks and not scheming them properly enough where he will reduce the interceptions that they are throwing.
Because ultimately the head coach gets the, how do I put it, gets the blame and gets the praise. Aki, I know we're talking about Bryce Young not too long ago. And I don't know last week if you saw the game between the Bears and the Texans. I'm not talking about the drama that happened with the two quarterbacks now, where it felt like Bryce Young was trying to baby up Caleb Williams by telling him, don't worry, you'll be great in this game.
CJ Stroud.
I said Bryce Young. CJ Stroud trying to baby up Caleb Williams. Don't worry, you'll be great in this league. And looking at him like, bro, you're in your second year. What do you mean by I'll be great in this league? Can you calm it down?
Everybody. I think that's the problem with everybody. I think they don't. I think his head is now getting too big.
So I don't want to focus on whatever it is that happened after. But I'm watching that game, and if you see the number of sacks that Caleb Williams took, the number of quarterback pressures, the number of times he was scrambling for his life, I know he was this all-world talent, he was a generational talent in college, and a lot is expected of him because number 1 overall pick and what have you. But when do we need to start pointing out to these teams that a rookie is still a rookie and you need to provide and protect a rookie? CJ Stroud has Laramie Tunsil on his offensive line with the Texans. They have a very good line. Defensively, they're also very good. So they're a good team. It's not like he's going there to perform wonders. But the Bears and the fans of the Bears, the media, everyone is expecting that, we've drafted Caleb Williams now. We traded Justin Fields. We've drafted Caleb Williams. He must beat everybody with his arm and his leg.
I think that's the problem. They are so quick to forget that there's a reason why they were able to acquire the number 1 draft in the first place, because they were poor last season.
They acquired that draft from Carolina. The pick from Carolina.
Sorry, guys.
People want to change narrative.
But they still had the number 9 overall pick. They were still poor. They had number 9 overall pick.
They were still poor regardless. I mean, so I think I'm just trying to stress that they were poor last season, and it's so unfortunate that they feel like, oh, a rookie, number one, or because the fact that he was, he's number first on the NFL draft, is going to automatically change everything. That's not how it's done. It's like they want quick success when in fact they are poor as a team. And they need to also like revamp every other aspect of their position. I mean, I don't even have a lot to say. Maybe Bolliger has some more to contribute to this.
See, in my own opinion, I think he was hyped. There were conversations about him showing himself and not getting drafted to Chicago because he feels like he's better than the team. The hype around him, someone like Nick Wright was telling us that Caleb Williams will take the team to the Super Bowl. So if people have hyped him like that before the season started, you cannot now come back to this season and come and be telling us that he's still a rookie. And that team, yes, the offensive line is not the best offensive line, but they got weapons. Yes, maybe some of their weapons are injured now. They got weapons. He should not look as inept as he looks. I think that's the main conversation. He looks inept. It's not that he's not playing well or that he's not. He doesn't look like he even have a command or knows what is going on in that team. So that's the main problem.
To be honest, I get the fact that it's the media. The media, like they say in sports, they build you up sometimes to bring you down. Like they build you up as high as possible to try and find a way to bring you down. Nick Wright saying that a rookie is going to lead the team to the Super Bowl sounds ludicrous to me. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Anyone that is trusting some of the opinions of the media too are even wrong.
Exactly.
No, there's an element of the guy being overhyped. Definitely, one is put that fact. This is why ever since this whole draft of a thing, I've always looked at like collegiate quarterbacks from a different perspective right now. So if you're experiencing some sort of turmoil in your collegiate career right now, and you're still putting up points, like the likes of even Shedeur Sanders right now, that guy is playing with one of the most annoying offensive line in my life. I've never, last season the same thing, this season the same thing. I'm serious though, and he's still dropping the numbers and he's still making plays. This is how quarterbacks like himself actually beef off his own stock, because they want quarterbacks that can actually make things happen out of like nothing. So I'm now like, my perspective about like quarterbacks have changed now. I'm looking past beyond just you have, or maybe you're blessed with the right set of O-lines and you have the proper weapon up front and stuff like that. So if you are able to still put up numbers the way you're putting up as a quarterback in your in college football, despite some of the most insane situations that you're playing under, I mean, big ups to you as an athlete.
I think that's our time being spent. But before we go, Aki mentioned Shedeur Sanders and their impressive victory. Aki, to you, like, who's the most? I'm going to put both of you on the spot now and ask, like, what quarterback from college are you most looking forward to in the NFL next season? I know there's talk of Quincy Evers of Texas Longhorns. Texas Longhorns. There is Shedeur as well. There is I think Milton. So to you, is Shedeur the guy? Is Shedeur the guy that you look forward to? Like, okay, when it gets to the NFL, there's something there.
I mean, he has a lot. I think he has something to offer. I don't just want to like put it. It depends on the situations they find themselves also in NFL. I'm talking about the team also. But with what I've seen and what he's able to do, I think he has that. What's it called? He has that demure to be an NFL quarterback. And to be honest, yes, he has shown it. And he comes from a lineage whereby his dad is an athlete. So he was first taught defense first all his life before being before any quarterback basics. So yeah, I think he has the proper bring up when it comes to that. Like, yeah, to make it in the NFL.
Are you sticking with Akin's philosophy of Shedeur?
I think Shedeur has, even with the lack of an offensive line, he has shown that I would throw the ball, I would stand in the pocket and make proper plays, and I would deliver pinpoint passes to my receivers. So any team that is that needs a quarterback is probably going to be the first quarterback off the board. So it's probably going to go maybe top three. I don't think he will fall past the third.
Maybe not the first pick of the draft, or maybe the first quarterback pick. Maybe the first quarterback pick, but not even not the first.
It'll be the first quarterback pick.
Yeah.
That's our time fast spent. Akin, I know it was a tough one for you to get here, and thank you so much for being here. If you don't want to enjoy the fact that, if you don't let Polish discourage you, it was a 1-1 draw, short one man down. Enjoy your 1-1 victory.
You've been saying 1-1.
I said 1-1. Sorry, it's been 2-2. It was a 2-2 draw.
Bolly should not give us our flowers. You know, it was also they beat him like with a man down too in the Champions League. So I don't know, man. Don't mind Bollish.
You didn't win your Champions League game now. I don't understand. Why are you bringing up Champions League?
But I do now. I didn't lose either, bro. I didn't lose.
To our listeners out there, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Until next week, have a lovely week, everybody.
All right, guys.